I couldn't help but be extremely pumped up to see this movie. Come on, it is Ridley Scott. Whether he's made a masterpiece, a great film, a good film, he has honestly never disappointed me as a filmmaker. He's just got a great catalog of movies that he's made over the last 40 years. So I couldn't help but be extremely excited to see Exodus, Gods, and Kings. Of course, this is a retelling of that classic biblical story of the Ten Commandments. Whether you read the Bible or not, you know this story because it's kind of been done to death as a movie and as a animated shows, and just told to you whether you're wanting to hear about it or not. I mean, it's on the Ten Commandments from the 1950s, I believe, is still playing on television every Easter, and sometimes I'll watch it with my family. But honestly, one of my favorite versions of that story is 1998's The Prince of Egypt. I think that might be the best. I love the music in that film and yada yada yada. Let's get on with this review of the film. Now, this movie is a huge epic, of course, and one thing I was excited about watching this film because of the trailers. The trailers looked really cool. I couldn't help but be just blown away by the visuals. And again, we know what this is all about, so I'm not going to get into much of the plot. We know who stars in the film: Christian Bale, Joel Edgerton, and a lot of other people that are also in the movie. A lot of stars that have smaller roles. Now, what I will tell you before I get into maybe my deeper feelings of the movie, this movie is watchable and visually stunning, but it is, honestly, it is void of any human emotion. So, did I like it or did I not? I have to say, I did like it. I did like this movie, mainly the fact that it is one of the most visually stunning movies I have ever seen in my entire life. And you can thank a great DP, you can thank Ridley Scott, you can thank the amazing cast and crew and visual artists that compiled all this CGI and practical effects in this movie. Christian Bale and Joel Edgerton are great in their respectful roles as Moses and Ramesses, and they were good. I liked them. They were adequate. There's the word, adequate. But there's a lot of unnecessary A-listers in this film, like Aaron Paul, Sigourney Weaver, John Turturro, Ben Kingsley, and some others that I just don't come to mind right now. But that made the film very distracting. I think this movie would have helped if maybe, put, Christian Bale and Joel Edgerton as the roles, but make everybody else unrecognizable to us. Put out new stars, find new talent, and put them in these supporting roles. It was just really distracting to see Sigourney Weaver, who plays, I believe she plays the mother of Ramesses, and to see John Turturro, who's, I believe, the father of Ramesses. It was just, their parts are pretty minimal, but, you see them in there and you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's them, they're great, but, I wish they just weren't in the movie. They're great actors, but I just wish they weren't in the movie. And also, having Aaron Paul, who's great in the film, I remember when he first appeared, I heard some people in the audience snicker some things from Breaking Bad, and that really didn't help at all. Another problem I had with this movie, I do have a lot of problems with the film, even though I will say I liked it on a visual level. The time transitions with the movie. Now, here's an example with the film. There's a part in the movie where Moses meets a woman after he's exiled. I know all the story. I'm not going to try and spoil anything. It's been done to death. There's some things I don't want to spoil in the movie that I did like, that this movie does differently than other movies have done about this story. But the moment when Moses meets this woman and he gets married, it's really strange. It's just like one scene, he meets her, and like one or two scenes later, they're getting married. Now, I believe it was reported when this movie was first running time what came out, it was announced that the movie was like 3.5 hours. So now the movie's 2.5 hours, and I have a feeling that when the Blu-ray comes out and the DVD, whatever, we're probably going to get an extended cut. Most Ridley Scott movies get a director's cut or an extended cut on the Blu-ray or DVD. So I expect with this movie, and I'll be surprised if it doesn't happen, I expect that we'll get a 3.5 hour version of this film. I'm not too excited about that. I'll be curious to see it at least once. But I'm not too excited. I think this movie is fine at 2.5 hours, though you probably could have shaved off a half an hour. But it doesn't really work with the time transitions. It's really weird. It's like, there is one point where it says 9 years later, but other times it's like, one scene happens, another scene, and then suddenly we flash forward to, I don't know, days, weeks, months, years. I just don't know. It's kind of a mess when it comes to that. But I love the music in this movie. I love the production design, the set direction, the art direction. It's all Oscar worthy. The special effects, it's the greatest, some of the greatest special effects I've seen all year. I don't know if the Oscars were recognized at all, but great practical effects, great visual effects. I liked some of the approaches that it took that were different from other Ten Commandment movies that we've seen. I don't want to go into too much detail, but I like the weird representation of God, and I like the representation of the plagues. This movie felt a little more realistically than other movies have done in the past, where it was more fantastical. And I appreciated that as a moviegoer. They tried to do something a little realistically as the plagues were happening. I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't want to spoil for anybody who's about to watch it. Again, the only reason I would actually really give a strong recommendation to see is the fact that it is visually stunning. I was blown away. It kept my attention through the 2 hours and 20 minutes. I love, my favorite sequence is the parting of the Red Seas. I thought that was a beautiful sequence, and the only part of the movie where I felt any emotion at all. I almost teared up during that scene because it was just so awesome. I was awestruck. That's all I can say. I was in awe. I was like, wow, that's incredible. I can't imagine how you guys put that together. And I look forward to seeing it on the DVD Blu-ray. And, you know, if I can find this at a cheap price, I would definitely own the Blu-ray and get the extended cut to see the whole film. Because I just have this feeling that this movie is much longer than it was tonight. It's a movie that, when I saw it tonight, it did feel really long. But I was entertained enough thanks to the amazing visuals and the good acting and the recognizable story. We all, you know, if you don't recognize the story, then maybe this will be all fun and new to you. But if you do recognize this, it'll definitely get you through the film. So, not one of the best Ridley Scott movies, and that's okay. Again, he's never really disappointed me, even though I think there's one or two movies that I still have not seen from him. I think that 1492 movie about Christopher Columbus, I still need to see that. But overall, I love Ridley Scott, and he's a fabulous director, and I really like that this film is dedicated to his brother, Tony Scott. I think it's a good movie to dedicate to his brother, who was also a great director we lost a few years ago. I'm still sad about that. But Ridley Scott will definitely, you know, he's going to be still making movies, and whether how old he is or not, I don't care. He's still making some of the best movies in Hollywood today. And this is a good epic movie. Don't rush out and see it. Check it out on matinee. I would definitely check it out on matinee. And for that, I'm going to give Exodus, Gods and Kings, I'm going to give it 3 stars out of 4. I'm MovieManCHAD. Please like, comment, subscribe to my channel. I'm also on Twitter, and I'm on Facebook, and please go to WeLiveFilm.com and subscribe right here on YouTube to We Live Film. Also go to Long Beach Acting and Film Association right here on Facebook and Twitter. Please also go to MoviePile.com, and if you've enjoyed this video review, please click right here, subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. What do you think about Ridley Scott? What is your favorite Ridley Scott movie, and what is your least favorite Ridley Scott movie? What comes to mind for me, maybe Alien, Black Hawk Down, and maybe my least favorite might be Body of Lies and this film that I just saw right now, and there might be another one that I can think of. But, you know, he's a great director, and if you've seen Exodus, Gods and Kings, in the comment box below, let me know what you thought about the film. Did you enjoy it? Did you not? And in the meantime, have a great day, a wonderful night, and a wonderful life, and I'll talk to you on my next movie review. Bye, everyone. Peace be with you, my friends.